Hello, welcome to the Eclectic Reader. Listen to great books and stories while you use your eyes and hands for other things. Now here's your host, Madison Mason.
Hi, I'm Madison Mason. I'm glad you're enjoying the Great Quarry Boys. Here's Chapter 5. Chapter 5, Gwendy. Gwendy Mullis was a thorn in everybody's butt. Gwendy had screwed up a couple of my lust campaigns by trashing me in her vengeful little clique on Monday mornings. It seems they had opinions regarding my rebel weekend activities, and I despised the very toilet paper her bra was stuffed with. I knew the conniving little shit was destined to become some thieving politician's wife or one of those hate-filled evangelist ministers and help him bilk the congregation of millions. "Oh, my Lord!" she screeched all the way down the hall, her phony southern accent peeling the paint off the lockers. "What the dang heck is that boy got on? How shocking!" Then she grabbed her idiot girlfriend, Janice Vronk, who had a voice that sounded just like her name, and they shrieked, "Oh, Lord, have mercy!" They pointed at him across the between-class hall, squawking and giggling away like rabid monkeys. Lloyd turned stoplight red, and he looked at me. Man, she really got to him, that little rat snake bitch. First time in his life, the poor sucker had stuck it out there, and trendy Gwendy had come along and chopped it right off. I was thoroughly pissed. I imagined a dozen or more just punishments for her, more prominent among them the old flaming bag of fresh dog crap on the front porch routine. I'd had it with vapid Miss Gwendy, and I swore bitter revenge. "Titless little shit," I muttered. Lloyd saw me. He whispered in a deadly voice that never rose, "It's okay. I'll take care of my own business." Something in the way his eyes remained so washed out and blank made me know that justice would be served and I should butt out. I was thinking that's probably the way the nicest boy in the neighborhood looks, just before he loads the family shotgun and walks into his parents' bedroom. So I put the incident out of my mind. I had enough to deal with to stay in school, work, try to get laid and not get caught by the cops for having a car and driving without a valid license. And old Lloyd went back to brownish shirts, his sartorial confidence shattered forever. Life continued normally for a couple of weeks. Then came the multi-stable Vibertron. Pure genius the MSV was, and here's how it happened. We were in exam week, the most tense period of any student's life, especially for me, the worst scholar in the free world. Most kids slogged away into the nights, reviewing all the irrelevant junk they had crammed into us the whole semester. Oh, but not me. I was out there working every night and living on the weekends. And not Lloyd. He didn't have to study. He was guaranteed straight A's anyway, so he applied himself to the thing he loved to do best, inventing. His old man, weird as he was, had the wisdom to recognize Lloyd's gifts at an early age. He willingly turned the family garage over to his son as his personal domain and parked his car on the street. Over time, Lloyd built a laboratory of awesome proportions where he delighted in showing me stuff he came up with, mostly neat destructive things like radio-controlled time-delayed chemical firebombs, neat stuff like that. Well, old Lloyd got the inspiration to make the multi-stable Vibertron. I'm not sure how he did it, but I know he used a transformer that lit up an old Bell payphone. He took the alternator switch out of a '52 Chevy radio. A radio needs alternating current, and a car battery has direct current, so they put a switch in the old radios that would throw the current back and forth to different contacts, transforming it to AC. Easy, huh? Then he hooked up a bunch of flashlight batteries, some lamp cord, and a foot of electrical tape. Okay, the way I understood it, a transformer takes regular household current, 110 volts, and steps it down to something like 18 volts. So old Lloyd just reversed the process. He connected the batteries and switches so the device stepped about 3 volts of juice up to somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 volts. Not a deadly amount of electricity, but enough that if you grabbed hold of it, you'd know something was different in your life. Standard household is 110, and if you've ever been bit, you get the picture. Then he was faced with the problem of conveying the hot juice safely so he didn't get bit handling it. Simple enough for a boy genius. He ran lamp cord from the unit into 6-inch lengths of conduit, wrapped them in black tape so he could hold them with only the ends exposed, and voila, cool. But the real genius is in what he did next. He built the whole thing so it fit neatly into a standard 3-ring binder notebook. Genius! We're talking James Bond here. My boy Lloyd was no dummy. So one agonizing hour into old man Weazen's overheated math exam, I'm poking desperately in the holes of my memory to come up with solutions to logarithms I know I'll never use in any imaginable future. Stifling heat, hell on earth. Lloyd, of course, has finished in 10 minutes and is staring out the window, developing his theory of fuelless spaceflight or something. And Princess Gwendy, the flat rat, is scribbling away in the seat in front of Lloyd, counting on her fingers, her brow pinched and her tongue poking from her lipless mouth. She's pulled off her sweater and is wearing one of those strap dresses with bare arms and shoulders. I can see the knots under her skin where there's no padding on her bones, and her spinal vertebrae are exposed. A gnarly little mountain range climbing up her back like bumps on a lizard. As I turn back to the blank sheet of failure in front of me, I see Lloyd looking at me and grinning, 2 things he never did in class. There's something in the grin, an evil I have never seen in his face before, pure wicked joy. Actually, it made him look kind of stupid, which Lloyd wasn't, so I watched. Gwendy was in the habit of calling attention to herself by any means possible. One of her favorite tricks was to wait until there was one of those lulls in the classroom, and when it was all quiet, she would stretch real wide and yawn real loud like she was bored to tears, rejoicing that every eye in the room was suddenly drawn to her. Quickly, she'd act like she'd just realized what she'd done and make a demure little apology, her hand over her lips, and giggle at how terribly cute she was. I always wanted to throw something when she pulled that cutesy crap, but nobody ever called her on it. Not until now. So while I'm trying to figure out what King Geek has on his mind, right on cue, and as if by magic, old Gwendy puts down her pencil and stretches those scrawny white arms way above her head and opens her mouth wide enough to stuff in a Volkswagen. She never finished the yawn. Smooth as glass, without missing a beat, Lloyd opens the black 3-ring binder on his desk and pokes the exposed electrodes of the multi-stable Vibratron right onto trendy Gwendy's tender white armpits. It happened so fast it was like slow motion, like when your brain knows something irretrievable is taking place and records it in super high speed so you won't miss a frame. That's the way I remember this scene. Gwendy lets out a screech that scares the living math out of the entire class. I never heard such a sound. It was a combination of a whoop, a holler, and a shriek from the bowels of a swamp at midnight. At the same time, her mousy dishwater hair all stands straight out on end, like the top of a dried dandelion before a kid makes a wish and blows. When 700 glorious volts hit her system, every muscle went into instantaneous spasm, with the result that she jumps 15 feet from the front row, where she always sat, up to the blackboard in one mighty leap. She was sitting in one of those one-piece desks, so Gwendy, the desk, books, and all, jumped across the room and caromed off the blackboard like some angry brat threw their Raggedy Ann doll against the wall. I didn't see her mouth, but it must have bonded her braces to her teeth, if it didn't melt them completely. I fell out of my chair, as did every kid in the class. It was the funniest thing I ever saw, the 3 Stooges all rolled into one skinny fried bitch. Lloyd casually slipped the multi-stable Vibratron in among his other books and set quietly about correcting his exam paper. Gwendy sat stunned and attempted to remember her name. Old man Weazen was so furious at the disruption of his class during exam period, he exiled smoking Gwendy from the room in shame. He found her behavior quite Shocking. Lloyd refused to lend or even sell me the multi-stable Vibertron, no matter how much I begged. Oh, I could put it to some real use, but he said it was a single-purpose invention, and that purpose had been served. He dismantled it. I realized one thing then. Whatever you did not mess with old Lloyd Klausner. Gwendy went crying to Principal Gaunt, claimed she had some sort of a fit, and managed to whine her way into a makeup exam, which really pissed me. I wanted to see her flunk math and have to go to summer school, but I guess that would be too cruel, even for her. Maybe not. But as I'm starting to understand, life is set up so that you never really get away with much. Karma, whatever, as a way of paying you back somewhere down the line. It may not be in direct relation, which is why most dopes never get the point. If people would learn that, we'd get rid of war and every other bad thing. Anyway, old Lloyd got his, of course, through another of his inventions, one that all the guys respected as pure, unadulterated genius. I'll tell you all about that one later on.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of The Eclectic Reader. Please go on to the next numbered episode to continue. Also, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you'd like to help support the project, you can donate under Madison Mason at Patreon. And please check out our website, kltkrdr.com, for more information.
Hi, this is Madison Mason. I want to personally thank you for listening to The Eclectic Reader and invite you to share your experience, your thoughts, and your suggestions. We have many great books lined up for the future, but if you have requests for anything that is in the public domain, please email us at kltkrdr@gmail.com.
kltkrdr@gmail.com